So let's talk about the exact moment music got personal. We're going to jump back in time to figure out when songs stopped sounding like a math problem and started sounding a lot more like a page from a secret diary.
Now, really, think about it. You throw on a specific song because it just gets your mood, right? Like a sad song when you're going through it, or a hype track to get you pumped. Well, that whole idea that music is supposed to channel our deepest, most personal emotions, it had to start somewhere. And boy, did it ever start during the Romantic era. Okay, so picture this. It's the late 1700s, and Europe is kind of coming down from this period called the Enlightenment, or the Age of Reason. Everything was about logic, science, and having super strict rules for everything. But, people started to feel like something was missing. There was this huge cultural shift brewing. People were just getting tired of a world that felt so cold and, well, mechanical. It was like they wanted to trade in the rule books for a giant open-world adventure, where your imagination, a sense of mystery, and your own personal feelings were the main quest. It was a total rebellion against just using your head, in favor of using your heart. So, if your new mission as an artist is to express these massive, complicated feelings like hope and loneliness and love, how do you even begin to do that with music? I mean, you can't just throw a giant orchestra at it. You need something way more personal, way more direct. And their solution? It was brilliant. It was called the art song, or Lied in Germany. Seriously, think of it like the original acoustic session, or maybe like a 19th century tiny desk concert. This was music made for small rooms, not huge concert halls, and it was designed to create this direct, intimate vibe where every single word and every single note could hit you right in the feels. The whole point of the art song was to find this perfect balance between its three core parts. First, you had the singer, who's basically our storyteller. Then you had really powerful poetry, which was like the emotional foundation of the whole thing. And then you had the piano, which got a serious, game-changing upgrade. And this is where it gets really cool. See, before this, the piano is often just kind of there, in the background, playing support. But in the art song, it leveled up. It became a main character in the story, which was a totally radical idea for how music was supposed to work. The piano basically became the ultimate co-op partner. It wasn't just playing chords anymore. It was setting the entire mood before the singer even sang a note. It could create sound effects, making you hear a flowing river or the wind rustling through trees. And this is the big one. It could reveal a character's inner thoughts, things like a racing heartbeat or a wave of sadness. It was basically doing the job of a modern movie soundtrack. Now, a new genre is nothing without its superstars, right? You need those pioneers who come in, define the sound, and show everybody what's possible. And let me tell you, the art song had some absolute legends. First up, we have Franz Schubert. This guy was a content-creating machine. He wrote over 600 art songs. He could take a short, simple poem and blow it up into a complete, epic musical story. He's pretty much the guy who took the art song from this niche idea and turned it into a major, respected art form. And then you've got Robert Schumann. This dude was a huge bookworm, a literature fanatic. And he was a master at weaving really complex poetry into his music. He pushed the piano's role even further, writing these long, super expressive piano solos that explored all the deep psychological stuff. The feelings that the singer's words couldn't even begin to describe. Now, to structure all this raw emotion, composers had two main blueprints they could use. On one hand, you had strophic form. This is kind of like a modern pop song, where the same music repeats for each verse. It gives it that familiar, catchy feel. But for the really dramatic stories, they used a through-composed form, where the music is constantly changing to follow every single twist and turn of the story, just like a movie score. So what were these super emotional songs actually about? Well, they were packed with the trending topics of the day. The awesome power of nature, the feeling of being an outsider, and just big, overwhelming feelings. Nature basically became a secret code for human emotion. A stormy sky wasn't just about bad weather. It was about inner turmoil. A calm lake symbolized peace. A dark forest could mean mystery or danger. It was all symbolism designed to get the listener to connect the world outside with all the feelings happening on the inside. And one of the most popular characters you'd find in these songs was the Wanderer. This was the ultimate lone wolf figure, this lonely traveler on a journey, feeling like they just don't quite fit in with the rest of the world. This character was the perfect symbol for that whole romantic era vibe of restlessness and searching for your own meaning in life.
Okay, so this was all happening like 200 years ago. Why should you care? Well, because the revolution that started in these quiet little songs completely changed the music that we all listen to today.
The legacy of the Romantics is actually super powerful and simple. Music should be an honest expression of who you are and what you feel. That whole idea that an artist pours their personal struggles and their joys into their work, that feels totally normal to us now, but back then it was revolutionary. They literally paved the way for every singer-songwriter, every rapper, every artist who tells a story that comes straight from the heart. So if there's one thing you take away from this, it's this. The Romantics prove that telling a personal, emotional story is one of the most powerful things music can possibly do. They're the ones who gave our playlists feelings. And that kind of leaves us with one last thought. If you had to write one song, your own personal art song, about your life right now, what would that story be? What feelings would you want that music to capture?